Hello everybody, welcome back. In today's video, I am going to make my own vise for the workshop. I looked at some pictures online, some YouTube videos, some designs, different ways of doing it, and I have a more or less idea in mind of exactly what I want to do, but I will have to start working with the metal. I'm making it out of all of these offcuts metals that you see here, and for the screw I got this car jack. And I'm going to take the screw and the fittings out of the car jack to use as a screw for the vise. Alright, so now I have to start and figure this out. I'm going to be using this as the part that slides with this part on the inside. I just don't know how to determine the length. That part I'm a bit still confused on. Unless I build it in and then cut it off when I'm done. So I'm going to quickly start cutting the different pieces as I have it in mind so that I can pack it here and just make sure that I'm not missing something. This is how far I've gotten now. It's actually very interesting when you're building something out of scrap metal. In other words, you don't have access to the metal that you want. And that is cutting disc number 2. Gone. This flat bar is going through my cutting disc like a rabbit through lettuce. Alright, it's day 2. All the cutting and prepping is done. Now it's time to start welding everything. This is going to be the moving part of the vise with the jaw that comes out. Using spacers here, I made this lead screw to be perfectly level and then tested it to see if there's still movement. That works. What I'm going to do is tack this here. I'm going to weld these two pieces together because this will be welded to the base plate, and then I can take this apart to do the welding. I want to quickly show you the final design. So this is just an offcut of this piece. So it will go on the base plate, and these two will go there, like so. This one goes on top, then this part will go here with these supports, and this part will go here, and that will be the basic design of it. I've lined this up so that I've got 90 degrees everywhere with the magnets, and I've used these spacers to make sure that this is equally spaced, and I can still easily move this part, which will slide. So now I'm going to tack it so I can take everything off and then just weld it. Alright, well, it turns out that I'm not the greatest welder yet. I'm still working on it, but I'm a pretty decent grinder. That is part number 1. Done and dusted. I'm quite happy with that. I put the screw in reverse from the back side so that I can align this. I've lined up everything here, because now I have to only weld this piece to this bottom plate so that I can take everything off and weld it from the other side. Once this is welded onto the base plate, then I won't be able to weld on the inside. So I have to do it in these steps. So I can just tack it in the front here and then take it off and then weld that piece on good. And then we're getting close to the end. It's going to be quite a tricky weld, but I'll manage. Now this is going to be interesting. I've welded the stationary part onto the base. It can now slide like this. Overall, I'm very happy about this. All right, so the primer is dry. Now I chose a machine gray, never used it before, so I guess we're going to find out what that looks like. So I'm going to use machine gray. In between waiting for the coats to dry, I started cleaning up a little bit. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys do while you're painting and waiting for coats to dry? What do you do to keep yourself busy? I always tend to start cleaning a bit, using the time to clean. It's difficult to stand still. Ooh, that's quite dark. All right, while I'm waiting for some paint to still dry, I'm going to take this masking tape off and see what that looks like. Oh, that came out perfectly. Exactly what I wanted. Now that we're done, I have to answer the question, why did I make this vise? There's 3 reasons why I made this vise. Number 1, I needed one. I need one for the workshop. Number 2, I wanted to take on a project which was bigger than what I thought I could do. This is not a massive project in the scale, but the engineering and everything that went in here was a bit beyond what I could do. And I wanted to see if I could do it. I wanted to challenge myself and see if I can do it. And the 3rd reason I made a vise is because buying vices is expensive. The cutting disc combined with the scrap metal and the lead screw from the jack cost me about 20% of what a vise like this will cost brand new in store. And this is why I decided to make it myself. You'll notice that I haven't drilled holes in these plates yet for mounting it. That's simply because I've never had a vise. I've always known I needed one. But I don't know where must I mount it? Where will I use it the most? Where will it not be in my way and things like that? I first want to work in the workshop a little bit. I will clamp it. In the meantime, I will clamp it and see where I'm comfortable until I find the perfect spot to mount it. The design came out exactly as I wanted it to be. But not everything came out exactly the way I wanted it to be. There's some misalignment. There's too much play in certain areas, which I did not want to have, and I specifically planned not to have it. And then during the manufacturing process, things went wrong, and I learned a lot, and the play is still there. It has taught me so much about looking at certain things, and for building in the future, what do I have to pay attention to? How will things move when you weld it? Stuff like that. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for what I've learned. It's definitely a vise. It's definitely heavy. It's definitely beautiful. I really do like it. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope that this encourages you to make your own tools and to just start and build something and make something. I never would have thought that I'd be able to build my own vise. Here it is. So just start, just build something. If you cannot afford something and you need it, make it yourself. It's not that difficult. Once you put your mind to it, just do it. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Please comment below what I can do differently, how I can make it better. Tell me what you thought about this vise. I would really like to hear your remarks. Please consider subscribing if this was of any value to you. Until our next project, I want to encourage you to make your best life. So how do you think we're going to take this thing apart?
Wow. Approximately lots of violence.
Lots of violence. Angle grinder?
Yeah, it's an angle grinder.
I really like this color. I don't know why I've never used it before. It kind of makes me think of Batman in the Lego movies. I only work in black, sometimes dark gray. Okay, and then I need some masking here so I don't spray on this thread. Why? Masking tape issues. All right, I've lined this up so it's nice and flush everywhere. Oh,